caught me by surprise. A lot of these teams have adapted to prioritizing this champion over the Jinx, and I feel like that's purely because the ability of the AoE damage that he can have in those team fights, and of course the amount of setup that you can play off during the laning phase. But we need to talk about all the champions getting locked in, because everything's getting locked in instantly. So I'm pretty surprised that Haichao has decided to go with the Jace. That does signify that they want early game priority for Meteor to work off, and I'm assuming that is going to be towards the bottom side. So I would love to have JinJiao on a melee support that can force those early game team fights and really accelerate the tempo.
See if they're going to be able to do that. I like the pickup though of the Jace in that mid lane for Haichao. Put a bit of pressure onto Rookie and give a bit of priority, like you say, to LGD. Gwen going to be locked in as well. This is the first draft in quite a while where I've seen neither AD carry or support locked in for either team. That is something kind of crazy. Meteor going with that Maokai as well. As the Draven banned away from JackeyLove, Varus is the answer. And even in the bans, we are rocketing through this draft.
Yeah, I feel like I don't even have too much time to talk, but I'm pretty surprised that Top Esports has decided to lock in their entire top side and not flex this K'Sante, because I feel like that's one of the biggest advantages that this K'Sante going in blind for the first of the draft has. But we'll have to wait and see. Something like the Xayah and the Zeri is still up and available for both of these teams to take away. But I'm assuming it is going to get considered to be banned by Top Esports here. However, I feel like with the amount of supports that's up, we still have something like the Rakan, which we've seen Mark play. I mean, I think Mark had an amazing series, especially up against Wayward Gaming, where he's really stepped up from his spring regular performance, where I thought, especially towards the bottom side of Top Esports, they had a bit of a struggle when it came to the early game laning phase, which did often put the entire team behind and put them in an uncomfortable position. So it's really nice seeing Mark having that time off during the offseason and really stepping up. And Jin getting banned is quite the interesting one, instead of Zeri.
Yeah, I'm just scratching my head, to be honest, on that one. I mean, Jin is actually kind of good. Like, it surprised me at the start of the split that we weren't seeing Jin, because there's a lethality build that is disgusting. He's really good with the Gale Force crit builds as well. Like, in solo queue, Jin's a bit of a beast. Not really seen it in the LPL, though, as we see Envyy and JinJiao immediately go towards the Xayah Rakan. Not surprising at all there. What do Top Esports go for? Kai'Sa could be an option.
I guess Top Esports can just default to something like the Jinx and the Nautilus for that bottom side and giving the Xayah open, or they can deny it on Top Esports side as well. But I did want to talk more a little bit about Jin, because I feel like, yes, Jin is a very good champion when it comes to the current meta and how he builds. But the reason why we haven't really been seeing him in the LPL is that look at the amount of dive that we often see in these drafts. It's Wukong, it's Ahri. You want to just sit back, use that ultimate to often engage on the enemy team, but you're often going to also see an Ahri kissing you on the cheek in those team fights, and you're probably going to die in the next 2 seconds. But at the very end, it's going to be the Xayah denied by Top Esports, which is going to work really well because LGD, they've locked in a lot of short-range carries, even including the Zeri with her current build. So it's going to be a really big struggle if LGD, they don't really catch the Xayah by surprise and eliminate this ADC straight away.
So, bit of a weird end to the draft there. The Xayah Rakan denied, like you say. The Nautilus alongside that Xayah. And I'm going to suggest the Kai'Sa pick every single draft where it looks good until it gets picked. I believe in the Kai'Sa. I feel like it's not in that bad of a spot right now. But on the other side, the Zeri locked in alongside that Rakan, which can certainly work. We'll see what Envyy can do with his hands on that one. But LGD, a mountain to climb here. Still a dream of playoffs in their sights. But they're going to have a hell of a win streak if they want to make it. 0-6 so far in the split, but consistently taking games from big name teams. Let's see if Top Esports becomes another big name team that LGD manage to bring a game against. But Top Esports certainly a favorite here on a 5-win streak, and it feels like they've got that mojo back. It feels like this is a team that you can look towards the top of the table to find, that you can believe will do well during playoffs. Can they be consistent is the question. And LGD, I feel like, could be their kryptonite, if you will. We'll have to see as we come into this one. Top Esports and LGD, game number 1 here in Shanghai.
G2?
Did he just say G2?
Someone in the crowd just yelled G2. I mean, 加油 in the LEC. I believe LEC is also is going to start very soon.
Yeah,
However,
it's not.
like
I think it's Saturday it starts. It might be tomorrow,
yeah,
in fact.
Saturday?
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it's tomorrow. So I guess that's why the Jiaos are coming out from our Chinese house. For anyone that doesn't know at home, by the way, Jiao literally translates to add oil, which is kind of like take my energy. You know, some guy shouts the name of the team, everyone else shouts Jiao. It's like kind of add oil to the fire almost, but the literal translation is just add oil. So bit of a weird one, but fun to have the unified chance. Hang on a second here, Mark gets ignited. JackeyLove trying to trade back, but honestly, you take that for LGD.
Yeah, you already see the two supports chugging some of that health pot, but I also wanted to kind of talk about how 加油 in Chinese, it is add oil translated directly, but I've always thought of it as the Korean equivalent of fighting. So, I don't know, take it as you will, but Top Esports, with the amount of trading that has happened, I'm assuming they want to look for that level 2 spike as they do have the cleanse available.
Oh no. Oh, it's a disaster. JinJiao gets rooted up here. He's trying to escape, flashes out to safety, but Envyy now is alone in the fight. Still has flash available.
Double flash.
And gets forced as well. That's all 4 summoners from LGD.
And Top Esports being as aggressive as ever towards their bottom side. Like you said, the 2 flashes being burnt. I'm assuming Tian is going to make his way towards that lane very, very soon. But a bit of a disrespect move from JinJiao as he just wasn't really kind of expecting that auto attack from Mark. With the Glacial as well, he's not as tanky without that Guardian. So at the very end, LGD taking a very bad trade at 2 minutes in the game.
Yeah, a bit of a tough one for LGD. Not the end of the world, but, I mean, Envyy missing out on all of that CS. Look at the CS difference in that bottom lane. It is double for JackeyLove right now, who managed to get a reset off after crashing that wave, so it will just be Envyy set pretty far behind.
I do want to highlight this route from JackeyLove. I don't think the trade would have gone as bad if the Xayah wasn't able to land that double route. But with the lethal tempo also coming online for JackeyLove, I mean, that is just a very clean 2v2 to say the least. But with the Zeri and the Rakan not having these summoner spells available, it's going to be quite the struggle for Meteor to look for angles because you are a Maokai compared to with Wukong and you have paths away from each other. We do see Meteor trying to go for a gank onto Decade, but I don't think they have the damage for Wayward. He is very low on mana though.
Certainly is. Maybe they can bait him in as Mark looks for another engage. Remember, no summoners here. JinJiao tries to escape and gets taken down. And this bot lane is just brutal.
It's just another 2v2, it's just that easy. But you see, Mark having that ability to just go forward, he's not afraid anymore compared to his old spring self, where it is going to result in that first blood going to JackeyLove's hand, and I'm not expecting them to slow down anytime soon.
Wayward could be in trouble here as Decade charges on forwards. Meteor in range of the twisted advance, and Wayward forced to flash, but actually flashed afterwards.
Double flash.
Both of them flashed to make the kill happen, and LGD answer on the top side.
Unfortunately, Meteor was spotted on a ward, but with the wave being slowly pushing towards Decade's side, I mean, it was just a bit of a hard situation to be in as Tian was covering for that bottom side play. Although not being there, the presence of Wukong was definitely felt. We'll get a replay of what just happened towards that bottom side. It is just Mark landing another hook, and JinJiao being that Rakan, taking Glacial and not even using that W does mean he's extremely squishy when it comes to the 2v2, and whoever gets hooked pretty much just has to go to very low HP, and JackeyLove picking up that double longsword now. I mean, this is going great for Top Esports so far.
Certainly is. Decade, you know, at least got the assist on the attempt onto Wayward, but unfortunately it was Meteor that grabbed the kill, which not the end of the world, but you really would have loved to have that extra gold in the pocket of your Gwen. All summoners on cooldown in the top lane. A lot of summoners on cooldown in that bottom side, but the Ignite's backup available. Hex Smash still on the table, so they could still use that. And then Ghost is back for Envyy as well. So, kind of like the opportunities for ganks may be a little harder to find now. As Drake is now onto the map, you got to believe with JackeyLove being so far ahead, Top Esports would probably have priority. I'm
very surprised that Ari is managing to get lane party up against a Jace. You see Rookie already getting first move and starting the Dragon for the side of top esports, but I do want to kind of focus in on JinJiao's performance in Summer so far, because I feel like LGD, the rest of the map, it has been all about that early game, and they have been very successful with those early game skirmishes. It's just how they translate it towards that late game is where they really drop the ball. But JinJiao in particular, we've seen amazing games from him on something like the Blitzcrank, where he is able to accelerate the tempo for the side of LGD. But we've also seen him getting caught a lot of the time, and it does set back LGD's ability, especially for Meteor, to look around the map for those opportunities. So it is going to be a really big question on how JinJiao is going to be able to stabilize himself as we approach further weeks.
See what you can do. I've certainly, there have been moments for this bottom lane. Like against Weibo, they had a couple of good moments, but they also did lose that 2v2 in game number 2 of that series. So kind of like the laning, leaving something to be desired from Envyy and JinJiao, especially when their Xayah got denied. I feel like that has been their speciality so far this split, as JackeyLove takes a bit of a hit, but they've got a plate for it, so I don't think he'll be too upset.
As you see, Rookie and Tian trying to get that Scuttle Crab, but with that double Pinkle coming out of LGD, I don't think they're going to be able to secure this. I would love to see Tian play more towards that bottom side, kind of get those plates into JackeyLove. Rookie missing the charm.
Yeah, forced to use the Spirit Rush there. Nice little bit of play from Haichao. As Wayward takes a bit of pressure in the top side from Decade's ultimate as well. And LGD answering back a little bit on the map here, using those ultimates to find themselves advantages. Meteor takes a blue buff as well.
Meteor not only taking the blue buff, but he's already level 6, so he does have that extra bit of pressure towards his top side. And the vision game from LGD so far, amazing, where Tian hasn't really been able to find any angles, or at least secure his own camps in his own jungle. We get a replay of that top side. I believe it is just Wayward getting poked out of lane, and the needles were hitting thin air, but it's okay. You know, cooldowns, we can just wait for the next round.
We certainly can. Rookie, though, how about that ultimate forced out by Haichao? I wasn't sure if they were going to try and go for a dive, but they saw Mark off to the side of the lane, so they decide not to pull the trigger. But like you say, level 6 for Meteor, this is where things can really start to happen for the Maokai, and you can really influence the map. It's a decent start for LGD, and once again, I want to bring up the point. This is a team that in game 1 of every series have managed to find advantages against other teams. The one caveat is, it's mostly been off of early game advantages. It's mostly been off of the start of the game going extremely well. And currently they are even. They have not found themselves that lead just yet, with Top Esports getting that first Drake as well. So perhaps Herald could be their answer.
Top Esports denying a lot of that solo lane advantage that you see in the Gwen versus Cassante matchup. Of course, the Gwen does have that extra bit of pressure and lane priority, which allows Meteor to play towards that top side. And Jace getting blinded up against Rookie, I still feel like for LGD, they should really capitalize on this and start forcing plays towards that top side. Even move JinJiao. I wouldn't mind that. But if we take a look at Top Esports and how they've been acting as a team throughout this summer split, I feel like an ongoing trend for this team is that they often lock in very heavy dive towards the top side, which you can see, which is the Wukong and Ahri for this game 1. But you find instances where specifically Wayward and Tian would be caught overforcing and engage, but they end up dying alone. So I feel like that's not the whole story, because Top Esports, they've always played like this. But it's dependent on how the enemy team is going to be able to split up the front line and how the carries are able to kind of walk up and do that DPS, which they so desire for.
Yeah, all about fighting on 2 fronts. Tian trying to do exactly that on the map right now, as Meteor managed to get the Herald and wants to try and set up the dive. It's not going to happen. We'll spot it out on a ward. Just threatens a little bit, but no big wave to crash. So Top Esports, no play to answer this Herald being taken by LGD. So once again, decent presence from LGD in this early game as Tian moves towards this mid lane. Mark is here as well. Haichao has that flash, but does he have the reactions is the question. Tian's moving in. Rookie
wrong.
Flash charm, but he goes wide.
It was so close to connecting, but Top Esports trying to force something with Mark getting that first move towards the mid lane. It does force a flash out of Haichao, but Top Esports, they need to follow up with that play in the next 5 minutes. As Decade, he's being a bit of a bully towards his top side.
Yeah, does Tian actually survive this? Third needle work there. We'll get the blast cone out to safety as JackeyLove just starts walking towards Envyy aggressively here, dodges the feathers. Envyy doing pretty well. The Featherstorm comes on out and forced to flash. JackeyLove losing the 1v1 that he started.
Yeah, and the flash, like you said, getting burnt, and also the Featherstorm, so the Xayah is going to be very vulnerable for this upcoming Dragon fight in 30 seconds. We have a lot of ultimates available for the side of LGD, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're more willing to take this, and it would be very surprising if Top Esports want to challenge this, which is going to be the second Dragon if they're going to be able to secure it.
We'll have to see. Take another look at this play mid as Rookie trying to find the flash charm onto Haichao, but the reaction
I feel like he predicted it, but it was just 1 millimeter off, and that's so unfortunate. So I would love to see Top Esports force something more onto this chase and really stop that scaling ability of LGD and their solo laners. Because if you look at LGD's team composition, they are playing for that side lane pressure. The 1-3-1 when it comes to the later game is going to be so insane because it's going to be extremely hard trying to force onto the Maokai, Zeri, and Rakan in the mid lane because of Maokai's ultimate. So Top Esports, they're kind of struggling to fasten up the tempo for this team composition, which is all about those 5v5s.
Yeah. I feel like this is something you don't see in solo queue, isn't it? Where, like, Top Esports, Rookie's ult was on cooldown, no flash. JackeyLove's ult was on cooldown, no flash. They're like, okay, our carries don't have anything. Let's not fight the Drake. In solo queue, it's like, no, no, no. We got the first Drake. Drake belongs to us. And they charge in anyway. But Top Esports respecting
that sounded really personal.
Oh, it was. It was. It's personal for every teammate I've ever had in solo queue. I feel like that is very consistent. JinJiao, though, moving forwards as Meteor's here as well. Ultimate available on that Maokai, but doesn't pull the trigger for now. Just going to slam that Herald down in the mid lane. Do they have the presence to make this connect? It looks like it to me, but we'll have to see as Tian is here with the smite available. But the charge will go on through here. Gets a couple of plates. Meteor hooked in. Bit of damage coming out from Rookie there in the roots, but the damage is already done here. Charm across the team. Mark stepping forwards, low on HP, as Rookie has so many resets. JinJiao trying to escape, but taken down for the double kill. And Rookie once more, but JackeyLove takes it. Top Esports get themselves onto the board.
And LGD putting that Rift Herald in the mid lane bites them in the back. Meteor just stepping a little bit too forward and getting caught out of position by Mark. An amazing follow-up CC from Rookie, and they were playing off those CDs. As Decade, he's trying to look for more.
Wayward is just getting wrecked here. This Decade dodging everything, hitting everything, and Wayward forced to walk away. But let's take another look at that fight mid. Rookie playing this beautifully.
Yeah, I love this POV that we have for the LPL. Double Everfrost onto the support and jungle of LGD, as Maokai was just doing 360s in the air. But I feel like when you do have a Jace, you want to be playing of the poke and not just 100 to 0s with this team composition. But even JackeyLove rotating from that bottom side after getting the lane pushed in does mean that Top Esports overall just had the better tempo for this play.
Very nice stuff. And now for Top Esports, we talked about the summoners on those carries before. Let's talk about the items on those carries, because the Everfrost you just mentioned finished off for Rookie. Kraken Slayer there, as well as a BF Sword for JackeyLove. They are really coming online with 2 kills apiece and about 2,000 or 1,500 gold lead. Favorite Top Esports for now. But it's still another couple of minutes until that Drake comes up. Herald will be that next objective. It does feel like with the Gwen in the top side, that could be tough for Top Esports to contest unless they really commit members across the board of that.
Yeah, especially committing those ultimate to get onto this Gwen's face. But I also wanted to highlight, like we've been talking about items, it is going to be the Duskblade for Haichao on Jace. We've seen a lot of Youmu's for that first item on this champion back in patch 13.10, but being on the new patch, I believe Duskblade just has better statistics now, as Youmu's did receive a slight nerf, so that is going to be the new meta for this champion. But we see Top Esports investing a lot of their attention towards his bottom side, and that's the gank that you've been talking about.
Get on to Decade. I won't find a chance really. I will say Decade is doing a really good job of every single time Top Esports go aggressive towards him. He just hits back. He goes for whoever's closest and chunks them out. As Mark slightly wide on the anchor, Decade with a good little dash to dodge away from that one. But Top Esports, enough pressure here to guarantee the tier 1 town. So objective taken. Herald spawning in 15 seconds. And you can see Meteor on the top side of the map. So Top Esports got to try and find more here on the bottom side to answer that. It's Wayward takes a bit of a hit from Haichao, but lethality versus armor, not great for Haichao.
And I've been really enjoying what Wayward offers to this top esports roster because we often see him playing something like the Gragas and Cassante where it's so hard to force plays onto this top side, and it really denies a lot of the LGD at least a lot of those resources going towards the top side. We do see them starting the Rift Herald, but we all know how badly the last Rift Herald went, where it didn't really translate into much in terms of a macro play. And top esports, after getting that bottom side tower, they're gonna contest this one.
Not just gonna contest it, they're gonna waltz in and steal it away. Tian grabs that one. And I've just noticed, I mentioned the lethality not good for his armor. Wayward actually doesn't have any armor currently. Not a single bit of armor in his build whatsoever. As he's yet to finish off a tier 3 item. Yeah, he's got base armor, I guess. But yeah, Wayward, still a little while until he finishes off that first item. I'm looking towards JackeyLove though, because I feel like he's getting close to finishing a second item. Actually recalling currently, might be able to finish that second item off. No, not quite. Not quite able to get it, but does get his boots, so that's Zaire in a pretty strong spot. It's almost a 3,000 gold lead right now in favor of top esports as Rookie. Absolutely immaculate trade there. But can he survive the dive that comes on in Spirit Rush and Flash? But it's not enough to get away. Gets underneath the tower again. Can he do the damage that's required? Charm to keep Meteor under the tower here. Haichao takes a shot, but it's only the one. A valiant effort from Rookie, but the Flash a bit of a whiff.
One more tower shot would have been a 1-for-1 trade, but like you said, the Flash and the ultimate committed out of Rookie. And Meteor finally getting some of that gold into their own pockets. I was honestly questioning LGD. I know you have a great scaling composition. You have the Jace, you have the Zeri, and the Gwen, where it applies so much pressure towards those side lanes. But how much are you willing to give over in this early game? Because it was a 4-1. But having that kill go into Haichao's pockets is going to help them quite a lot. But that does mean losing out on this third dragon, which is going to go into top esports pockets.
Certainly is. Let's take another look at Rookie. I like the idea of trying to dodge away from the ultimate, but I mean, there was a long way to go to get out of those roots.
I mean, you see Rookie committing both the Flash and the ultimate to try and get away from Haichao, but the Bramble Smash and the E from Haichao just boinked him back into the tower range, which honestly could have worked out a little bit better. I feel like if he kind of allowed them to stay under that tower for one more second, it would have traded for a 1-for-1, but it was a valiant effort to say the least.
Yeah, good effort under the tower from Rookie, but taken down in the end. And crucially, LGD keeping this game competitive. And I feel like that is the story of LGD this split. Like, most of game 3s, they do sometimes get smashed. Game 2 versus Weibo, they kind of got smashed. But a lot of their games, and especially the first game of each series, it does feel like this team is extremely competitive and will go toe-to-toe with some of those top teams. And sure, not managing to find an advantage in this early game, but certainly managing to hold their ground at least to some extent. Worth mentioning as well, that Triforce finished off for Envyy. It's an expensive item, but he has finished that one off in the end. Navori picked up for JackeyLove as well, so we have a full tier 3 item advantage in that bottom lane.
And LGD gonna secure this top tier 1 tower as well, but I've really been enjoying what Meteor is trying to get out of this top side, where he's forced 2 ultimates out of Rookie on this Ahri so far in the past few minutes. But I feel like top esports, they really rely on Rookie in particular when it comes to finding those engages, and also Wayward when he is given a champion like the Gragas. However, it is going to be the Cassante for this game 1. But we saw Rookie's performance on this Ahri up against Wayward Gaming, where those charms were just landing onto the perfect people. And without that ultimate ability available, it is going to kind of restrict top esports' ability to find those successful skirmishes. And we haven't seen too much out of the mid jungle, out of top esports just quite yet.
Haichao staying here fairly confidently with JinJiao in the wings, and Meteor coming on over as well. Herald gets its charge, but won't finish the tower off here as Mark forced to flash. Roots coming across the team now. Tian can block them, but Mark still gets caught up. And that could be the death of him, but TP coming on through. And now the attempt from Rookie as well. Double knock up here, but LGD not backing away just yet. Envyy in the midst, getting one to start the fight off. JackeyLove still going though. His Decade tries to get him, but just gets pushed away instead. JinJiao 1 HP. Rookie forwards for the double kill. And now Envyy knocked up and will be taken down. It's one for Wayward as top esports scrap it out again.
And Rookie standing back up again on this Ahri. bring more people because I have a team behind me. It is going to be the Baron started up for Top Esports as they trade 3 for 1 with only Mark falling down on this Nautilus. But we see Wayward and Rookie's presence in these team fights is just absolutely insane.
The 20-minute Baron taken. And sure, it wasn't a standard Baron setup, but 20-minute Baron certainly is a Top Esports hallmark play. I mean, this is LGD starting to fight off, trying to make the play for themselves. But the TP quite late from the Gwen.
It was a very late TP, around 5 seconds, but you need to look that Envyy on this Zeri with only the Triforce in hand, she doesn't do as much damage compared to the Kraken Slayer Zai, which is going to be zoning out a lot of those members on LGD. But Wayward on this Cassante with Rookie once again, making that magic in those teamfights and getting their hands onto the backline where Haichao wasn't able to put out any damage, as you see 9-2-6 on this Jace. So they really need to play off this Jace's poke before they look for those hard engages from Meteor because they're being a little bit impatient.
Certainly are. As you could see in the fight as well, JackeyLove really doing a lot of that damage for the team. And I was sort of expecting Rookie to be the predominant damage carry based on how the fight had gone, but just that free time JackeyLove got to hit onto Decade, onto Meteor.
Oh my lord.
Really paying dividends as they're just going to charge down the mid lane. They've got that Baron to work with. You see Decade is currently in the top lane. No TP available. Top Esports not going to put their foot down for too much more as Wayward was channeling the recall, but it's going to be Rookie that heads back to base to make sure this split push cannot pay off.
I feel like all LGD needed to do was to avoid all instances that can give over this Baron, because you already see Decade putting in so much work in that side lane, but they opted into that skirmish towards that top side and it definitely didn't go into their pockets. Top Esports now having the ability to force a full V3 in this bottom side.
Okay, both of them just trading half their health bar there between the carries. As roots come on through, Wayward and the clone from Tian happy to tank that Maokai ultimate. And this is one of the things about Maokai, especially against the Wukong. Sometimes when you're behind, it can be just impossible to find significant roots. You know, it's so easy to play around that ability as long as you got the coordination. Tian, not having the coordination as he face plants into the wall.
It's okay, we've all been there, but I feel like LGD without Decade in these major team fights, there's zero threat towards the backline of JackeyLove and Rookie, where you already see the Zayed putting out so much damage, having the Snovori in his pockets as well. So even if you do want to force these team fights as the Maokai, I'm not too sure if you're going to find too much from that, and they're in a really sticky situation because being on Soul Point now, they're the ones kind of under this pressure, but being this team competition that want to scale, I mean, all they had to do was just deny Top Esports from those skirmishes. Unfortunately, being swept into the whole action, it's just fallen flat as JackeyLove just picked up his third item.
Yeah, he certainly has, and that is one terrifying Bird Lady right there. 3 items strong. It's Rookie on a control ward, but that's the value that Maokai brings. I was talking about his ultimate not always being that great when you're behind. The saplings are always fantastic for vision control. It's staying on the map. 5,000 gold lead though for Top Esports. Like you say, JackeyLove, a huge portion of that goal, but Rookie not exactly doing bad for himself either. 4, 1, and 2 so far this game. 2.5 items finished off, close to finishing that third. It does feel like Top Esports on the brink here. Finishing a pretty confident game one, it has to be said.
Yeah, Top Esports kind of forcing LGD into an uncomfortable position where they have to kind of respond to this 5v5 play that they are looking for in this top side, and having the amount of vision control that they have in the jungle. Like you said, this Maokai sapling, I mean, he thrives off those bushes, but just being in the lane where a lot of vision is on this Maokai, he is a little bit awkward when it comes to those engaging, especially when you're a full tank Maokai. Those saplings won't be doing too much damage, and once you go in and you don't have that flash available, I mean, Rookie's just gonna charm you, and we've always seen those team fights go into the ways of Top Esports. But LGD, they have to wave clear this and really stall it out until Envyy hits that third item with the Titanic Hydra.
Top Esports just continuing this siege in the top lane as Decade starting to move on over. heads towards the mid lane, try and find priority there instead. And I'm kind of keeping a weather eye on Decade here. Remember, this is only his second series in the LPL. So far, he's had to face Weibo, and now he faces top esports. It's a tough entry into the league, but here on the Gwen, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I feel like perhaps this player is very much one of those carry players. You know, we saw him looking good on the Nart against the Shy, where he could bully in the lane, right? Where he could mitigate what the Shy was bringing to the table. Here on the Gwen, again, that counter pick, being able to have a bit of presence versus Wayward. And with the Shadow Flame picked up as well, when we're looking towards these fights, like Envyy is going to be headed towards, actually not going for the Lawnmower build. BF sword there after the Hurricane, so I'll be curious what he builds next. But Envyy is on the Zeri, right? Later on, he's going to be a menace. Decade will be a menace in these team fights as well. Even though they are 5,000 gold behind, like, this composition, you could certainly see a late-game team fight going their way.
Yeah, most definitely, but I feel like being the Zeri in those late-game teamfights is going to be really hard, especially if you have someone like Mark on the Nautilus that is going to be focusing you down with that single target CC from the ultimate. So my eyes are really going to be about those solo laners and how they're going to be able to put pressure onto people like JackeyLove and Rookie in that backline, as you have someone like the Jace and the Gwen, where I feel like Gwen does amazing into this Xayah because you can dodge out on those feathers when you are in your little mist circle. But it's going to be all about execution, as top esports, they can force a Baron, or at least dance with this idea.
Yeah, forget forcing Baron, they're just gonna kill him. They just walk straight at LGD. That's a kill onto the jungler. Mark starts flashing the emotes. Rookie wants a little bit more, still has that ultimate online. JinJiao stepping forwards here and will be the target, but dashes out to safety himself. Decade recalling currently, as Rookie trying to grab that red buff, and we'll be able to do so in the end. Baron started off top esports, looking to put their mark on here. Game number one. It's JinJiao so low. Wayward over the wall, spots him as well. He's going to move on forwards. Baron taken.
Rookie.
What else? All out on the other side, and they're just shredded. Into the meat grinder they go. And top esports, they're making mince.
It's a massacre, as top esports, they just play with their food in LGD, securing the Baron, now working towards that dragon as well. You already see the support of JinJiao being so low on HP, but they have no other choice than forcing that fight at Baron.
And now top esports with the Baron in pocket. You got to believe this is going to be
They don't want the
perhaps
dragon,
not the
they're
end of the
gonna
game right now. I don't know. They do have JackeyLove online. The respawn's coming through in 10 seconds. I think they are going to back away. But, I mean, it'll still be a soul as well off the back of this. Like, it really couldn't be going much better for top esports here. 28 minutes in. And top esports certainly not the fastest team we have in the league at this point, which is interesting to think about because they historically have been a very fast team. And when it comes to these Baron fights, this is their speciality.
Wayward and Rookie working together and getting that double CC onto the backline of LGD just meant, I mean, whoever was in that front line just got instantly focused down by JackeyLove, and they've been playing these team fights so well, where something very iconic to top esports is I feel like that the solo laners in Rookie and Wayward, they always have really great target selection when it comes to how they approach these 5v5s, and JackeyLove, given a champion like the Xayah, he is just more than happy to soak up all that pressure and just press ultimate and do a ton of damage as well. But 4 items online for the Xayah as well now, as we don't have that third item anywhere in sight for Envyy. I don't know if they can clear the wave here.
They definitely can't. Rookie just flashes in to start the fight. You said that top esports rely on him for the engage, and I'd say that that's a safe bet at this point. A hook in from Mark, as well as Wayward actually goes onto the fountain but still survives for now. Will be taken down by Envyy. At least that's one for LGD, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Top esports, they're very low Haichao. You just need to land one EQ, buddy, one Q. And that's
Envy's
top esports being
stacked
down.
up here. He's going for a little bit more. JackeyLove actually ults onto him and just takes him out. The opposite man eradicated by JackeyLove. One of the greatest of all time and living up to that reputation here in this game. The Bramble Smash won't come through. JinJiao tries to finish the job, but he can't. Nobody can bring him down. It's JackeyLove on the scene.
Ends the game with a clean quadra kill on the Xayah, living on the slitherest of HP, but Munch, they proved us wrong. Top esports are awake ever since this first game.
Absolutely phenomenal performance here in game number 1. Like, clean,